You're standing in a field at noon. The sun is directly overhead, exactly where it's supposed to be. Nothing looks wrong, and that's the terrifying part. Because if the sun stopped right now, this exact moment would still look completely normal for 8 more minutes. Not because nothing happened, because light hasn't caught up to tell you yet. So, what actually happens if the sun stops just for 1 hour? Not explodes. Not disappears forever. Just stops. And the honest answer breaks into 2 completely different disasters, depending on one word you've probably never thought about. Stops doing what exactly? Because there are 2 totally different things the sun does for you every second. It pulls you with gravity, and it floods you with light. Assume those 2 things stop together. And you've already gotten the physics wrong. So has almost every doomsday video you've watched. Let's start with the one everyone's asked in a classroom, half joking. What if the sun just vanished? Every science teacher gives the same answer. Earth flies off into space in a straight line. That's true. Gravity is what bends your path into a circle around the sun. Remove the source, and physics doesn't ease you out. You go tangent, instantly. But here's what almost nobody adds. That vanishing act would not be instant for you. Gravity, like light, travels at the speed of light. Not faster. Not everywhere at once. So even if the sun's mass disappeared this second, you'd keep orbiting normally, completely unaware, for 8 minutes and 20 seconds. You'd float in a doomed orbit around a sun that no longer exists, and the universe wouldn't tell you until light and gravity both arrived to break the news. That's scenario 1. Total annihilation. Not what we're doing today. Today we're doing something stranger and more useful to actually understand. The sun's light and heat simply switch off. The nuclear furnace pauses for exactly 60 minutes. Then it switches back on. The mass stays exactly where it is. Gravity never blinks. Only the light stops. And that one distinction changes everything. Because if gravity never stops, Earth does not go anywhere. No flying off into the void. Your orbit right now has nothing to do with sunlight. So cross that fear off the list. You are not going anywhere. What you are losing is light. And the first thing that happens is almost insulting in how anticlimactic it is. Nothing. For 8 minutes and 20 seconds, absolutely nothing changes on Earth. The light already left the sun's surface before it stopped. It's already halfway across 93 million miles of empty space. And physics does not let you recall it. You keep standing in full, warm, ordinary daylight, while, unknown to you, the source has already gone dark. Then, at minute 8, the last photon arrives, and the day does not fade like a sunset. It doesn't dim gently over 20 minutes the way dusk does. It goes out almost like someone found the switch. Within seconds, the sun's disk simply isn't emitting anymore, and the sky around it follows in moments, because there's no more scattered light bouncing around the atmosphere to fill the gaps. And the very first thing you'd see, hanging in a suddenly black daytime sky, is stars in the middle of the afternoon. This has actually happened in miniature during total solar eclipses. Crowds across the United States watched the sky darken at midday and audibly gasped when stars appeared where blue sky had been seconds before. Except an eclipse lasts minutes and only crosses a narrow strip of the planet. This darkens the entire sunlit half of Earth, all at once, everywhere the sun was up. Temperature is where your instinct is wrong too. You would expect a sudden deep freeze. You won't get one. Earth's atmosphere and oceans are enormous heat reservoirs. They don't let go of warmth in 60 minutes. Meteorologists who study what happens after sunset already know the pattern. Most of the drop happens slowly, over hours, not instantly. So in that 1 hour of darkness, expect a noticeable chill. A few degrees, roughly what you feel walking from afternoon into evening, not a plunge into ice age conditions. The real danger isn't cold. It's something almost nobody thinks about first. It's the power grid. Solar power now supplies a meaningful slice of daytime electricity across huge parts of the world. California, Germany, huge sections of China and Australia. Solar panels do not store light. The instant the sun stops, their output doesn't dip. It goes to zero, everywhere, simultaneously. Grid operators used to clouds slowly rolling in over minutes would instead face every solar installation on the sunlit half of the planet dropping out within the same 8-minute window. That's the kind of sudden supply shock grid engineers train for in worst-case simulations, not something anyone has actually had to survive in real time. Plants stop too, but more gently than you'd think. Photosynthesis needs light in the moment to run, so it pauses instantly on the sunlit side. But plants aren't fragile. An hour of darkness at midday is barely different from a storm cloud passing overhead. It won't kill a forest. Animals are where it gets eerie. During the 2017 eclipse, researchers documented the same pattern across zoos and farms in the path of totality. Birds went quiet mid-song. Crickets started chirping like at dusk. Cows walked back to the barn like clockwork said it was evening. Nocturnal animals began stirring. None of them read a calendar. Their bodies just respond to light. Honestly, in a way, ours mostly don't anymore. We built calendars, clocks, and streetlights specifically so we wouldn't have to. And humans historically did not take sudden solar darkness well. In 763 BC, Assyrian scribes recorded the Bur-Sagale eclipse, frightening enough to be logged alongside a revolt in the city of Ashur. Ancient Chinese astronomers described the sun being devoured by a dragon. Multiple unrelated cultures, zero contact with each other, same instinct. Something was eating it. Nobody needed to compare notes. The fear was already built in. Now imagine that fear, everywhere at once, for a full hour, with modern civilization watching. At the 60-minute mark, the sun switches back on. But because of that same 8-minute lag, the darkness on Earth doesn't end instantly. You wait another 8 minutes and 20 seconds for the first fresh photon to arrive, which means the blackout on the ground lasts exactly as long as the sun's outage, not a second more, not a second less. Just shifted 8 minutes later. The lag at the start and the lag at the end cancel out perfectly. So here's what one dark hour proves. Your gravity doesn't care if the sun is lit, your temperature barely notices. The planet is a better thermal battery than you'd guess. But your power grid, your crops, and every animal from birds to cows to you are all running on a light switch that has never once, in your entire life, been flipped off. We built calendars, clocks, and battery grids to pretend we're not still just animals reacting to whether the sky is lit. One real hour without the sun would strip that away in minutes and show you what's underneath. Not civilization, just an animal, standing in a dark field, looking up for stars that were never supposed to be there at noon. So, if the sun switched off for 60 minutes right now, what's the first thing you'd actually do? Let me know in the comments. See you in the next one.